Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with a Vulnerable Angel and Friends. This is episode 30, as Lego to me said in the chat. Episode 30. Wow. Yeah, oh my God. I can't believe that we made it this far. I am your host, Dominica May, the Vulnerable Angel. With my wings and halo. I am joined by my usual guests, Mike and Sharad, tonight. Welcome, guys.
You do that so well. Don't forget the balls, Mike. Don't forget the balls.
Look, I have new subscribers this week from videos that I posted. Over the last few days.
Yay!
So if any of them happen to be tuning in, they're probably going to be thinking, "What the fuck is going on right now?"
I love the fact that Mike's making eye contact while he does it.
That's right. So what this show is we just like get together and have some deep and vulnerable conversations. We draw upon our real life experiences, talk about things that
deep?
you deep throat.
I can't. I don't have the gag reflex.
I was going to say, that being said, you actually have great technique. So there you go. There you go.
Yes, so we have deep and vulnerable conversations about topics that are less widely discussed, especially in public. This week's topic is surreptitious social media spying. And this episode title was inspired by me noticing that I have at least one, perhaps more, people have been spying on my Instagram. I have not in the slightest idea of who it is. I mean, I have some ideas about who it could possibly be, but I could also be way off base. So I don't want to make any aspersions to it.
Could just be strangers. Who knows?
Yeah,
it could be, but I will explain a little bit more through the questions about why I have been kind of thinking about this stuff. We have our questions are supplied by ChatGPT. Although I did add some extra additional I think a second part to the question for some.
You added an extra layer of spice on top of those questions.
Exactly, just to make sure that I was going to be able to cover the things that I wanted to talk about.
Cool. Why am I glitching? Hang on.
Sharad glitching because Sharad is an AI. No.
Don't say that. Oh no.
The preamble here is that before the show, myself and Dominica were having camera issues. Now Sharad is having a camera issue. I would like to deposit this. Open up, Sharad.
Not in my eye, Mike. Not in my eye. How many times have I told you?
In the three.
Perfect.
I would like to deposit my banana seed. No, I would like to deposit that it is. I think it's posit is the phraseology. I would like to posit. It is Restream that is getting weird.
It could be Restream that is getting weird. I don't know. The video was working fine for me on my end, but Mike and Sharad couldn't see it. And then I refreshed the page and I was logged out. And I'm like, what on earth is going on right now?
No.
Anyway, that was why we started a little bit late, was because of those technical issues. Looks like we do have a couple of viewers right now. If you have any questions for us or want to chat with us while we are live, feel free to do so. But let's jump right into our very first question.
Let's do
it. It is...
Hit me with your best shot, Pat Benatar.
Have you ever deep dived someone's profile? And if so, what was your relationship to them? Why did you do it? And what made you stop? Perhaps you've deep dived onto multiple people's profiles.
For me, I think when I was younger, it started off as the archetypal Facebook stalking, like who is this person, what have you. But in more recent years, I've actually been doing more so on LinkedIn. Doing more LinkedIn, Facebook, linking stalking, just because I'm interested in the person. I want to get to know what their brand is, and I find that quite interesting. But in terms of nowadays, on Facebook or Instagram or what have you, it's mostly professionals or businesses nowadays, which is signs that maybe I am maturing, which I don't quite like. But I do admit, I mean, like there have been many a time where, because the good thing is obviously back then, obviously when you're on Facebook, it doesn't tell you who's looking at what. And so I'll just be stalking and I'm like, which is fine.
I'm sorry, you're like, what?
Oh, okay. As you would.
I had special sounds in some of my videos that I've been sharing this week as well. It's fun to make sounds. So is it more like random strangers when you have done that sort of diving into, or so rather than somebody you have a relationship with? No.
I mean, like obviously, let's say for example, this morning, there was someone who is based in London, quite young, actually younger than me, who actually runs a large thriving business with I think 12 employees. And I was like, who is this person? What makes them tick? So I was just going through what they were posting and everything. I was like, okay, I like that. So yeah, just research as it went.
Interesting. Yeah. What about
getting
you,
old.
Can we get clarity on the definition of deep dive?
Well, how do you want to define it? For me, it's like if you're just going to somebody's profile, you're like not just glancing at it, you're like looking at multiple posts or trying to understand who the person is, reading
I don't think I've
profile stuff.
I think the closest deep dive that I've ever done is whenever I had in the past been in a new relationship, I would go through all their profile or just like any of their photos, because I want to show my friends I'm so excited that I'm dating this person, and you just
look who I have, look at it, look who it is.
So like I remember with Kim, my wife, when we first started dating, I went through her profile and was like, oh, that's a cute photo. Oh, that's a cute photo. Oh, that's a great photo. And so I would like save all these photos of her on my phone, just for me, or, send to my parents. Well, send to my parent, because dad died. But yeah, send to my family. If there's like any friends, like coworkers at Lucky's Bar that are like, hey, what's going on? Anything new? And I'm like, yeah, actually, I just started dating someone. Sure. And, it's just like, oh, how cute. But that's basically the extent of my stalking.
I think that totally counts as a deep dive. If you're looking at multiple profile pictures.
Here's the thing. I don't care about their posts. Like,
I know.
You're admitting to a crime where 20 people died. Yeah. I don't care.
They're talking about murdering me the next time they see me. I don't care.
So you just like the photos.
Cookbook? What? I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so would you count that as different from like when you have checked up on an ex, for example? Because we talked about that previously, right, Mike, in one of the other live streams.
Yeah. Well, I feel like when someone breaks up with you and there's no closure, you want to investigate a little bit and just kind of like keep tabs on someone. Now, my mother, there was this one woman that I was dating years and years and years ago. She has like a mini fan base. She's an actor.
Oh wow! Okay.
In Utah, of all places, in Salt Lake City, and so she has like a really small fan base. So she would always like make posts and stuff to kind of like appeal to her fan base. But when we first started dating, because my mom is also from the Salt Lake City area, she started following this woman.
Uh-oh.
And she never stopped following her. All of these updates. And I'm talking like 2-3 years after we broke up.
Oh gosh.
Mom would still give me updates about her whereabouts, who she's dating, what her thoughts are. I'm like, I don't care. Stop sending me updates. I don't want to know.
If anyone's curious about Mike's mom, they should go and check out last week's episode where she was a guest on our stream for our
be there, but
parenting topic. Yeah. So that was a fun one. That's amazing.
That's
That
hilarious.
sounds like something my dad would do. My dad, I think, actually still follows or is still connected to my ex-husband on Facebook.
Oh
And
boy.
we've been divorced for almost 5 years now.
Oh,
So yeah, I there was a time that my dad actually sent me an update about something, and I'm like, yeah, Dad, I don't need it. I don't care. unless he posts something about getting a job, don't update me. Don't give a shit.
Wow, okay.
Yep. All right, for my answer to this question, I've deep dived for multiple reasons. And as in like gone to somebody's account and like looked at their posts, sometimes looking at their photos and things. One of them was one of my ex-husband's ex-partners. We're friends now, but at the time she was the person who like had supported him through like our court hearings and things like that. And you know, I knew he was a toxic person, and she had read things that I had said about why he was toxic, but she was at that time like still kind of you know, crazy about him and stuff, and so she didn't kind of see him in that light. And so I would check up on her every now and then to find out if she'd realized the truth about him yet. Like, is she posting signs that she is you know, not in a toxic situation with him? So that was one of my examples. There was a little while, but not as long. I did check up a little bit on my ex-husband's stuff, mainly because I was looking for anything that I might potentially want to use for in court. Like, possibly there might be something that would be useful, but since you know, all of the divorce stuff was settled, I'm like, there is zero reason for me to look at anything that he posts anymore. I just don't give a shit. I don't want to know. Mike, did you rejoin the stream on another camera? What's going on with that?
Well, I just had the idea of like, if I open up a different app with we're talking about something else.
Okay. Yes,
Well played, sir.
Sorry. Okay. And then my other examples. Yeah, I have also deep dived on exes where there was not the closure that I was looking for, or if I was like still into them and I wanted to know what was going on with them. But why did I stop doing it? Well, okay, for my ex-husband's ex, who I'm now friends with, I stopped doing it because now we're friends, so I don't need to go and check her stuff anymore, because we can talk about stuff directly. I mentioned about why I stopped with my ex-husband, and why did I stop with my other exes? I did a video about this week, actually. I kind of realized that I just don't want to give my attention to someone who doesn't seem to want my attention anymore. So that is now my reason for staying away. I'm like, why give my attention to someone who doesn't seem to want it? Yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Mike, did you have something that you wanted to share about that that thing, or you wanted? You were just looking at the extra.
No,
camera?
I was frustrated with the webcam built into my computer. And as I aforementioned, the camera that I was trying to use before the show didn't connect for whatever reason, so I had to. All right, we're gonna do this. So
do you want me to switch over?
I had to switch over to what?
Yeah, I'll turn the other one on if that's what you're wanting me to do. The camera looks the same.
No, they're exactly the same.
No, yeah, they're the same.
I didn't rejoin the stream.
Okay. I'll turn the first one off. What? Wait,
no, we can't hear you. We can't hear you now. We can't hear you.
What?
There we go. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to have to keep it on that first one there.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Sorry.
No,
Your second one doesn't like the camera. It doesn't like the microphone.
No, I didn't rejoin the stream. I just had to upload a new camera device to restream. And then I just switched over.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Thanks for sticking with me for that.
We have my friend Sundar is watching.
Hey, buddy.
He joined very early on. He messaged me yesterday last night asking if I wanted to hang out tonight. I'm like, but I didn't see it until this morning, so I thought he was talking about tomorrow. And then when I realized it was tonight, I'm like, I'm live streaming tonight, so no. But thank you for joining us here, Sundar. He also gave us a LOL, laugh out loud, and he says they should ban technical issues. They should make those things just very seamless for us. All right, you guys ready for our next question? Here we go. Yeah. Don't even wait for you to answer. Do you think people check on your profile more often than they interact with you, or is there anyone you hope is checking up on you?
Steven Spielberg, I hope, is checking up on me.
As soon as he opens up his Facebook, my name pops up on his recommended list. Yeah. For me, honestly, no. I don't think that people check up on me more often. And is anyone I hope? Yeah, of course. I mean, like there is a bit of vanity there, but I don't know, because I like to think that, people find my stuff fun and, and they remember me fondly, so they'll pop in. But in my experience, especially in the last few years, especially when I was talking through my battle with Guillain-Barré syndrome, there might be some, like I would actually post feeling a bit down, could do with a pet, and very few people replied. So that just goes to show that we're not the center of the universe, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on how you look at it.
God damn it! Why can't we be the center of the universe?
Yeah.
How about you, Dominica?
Yes, I do think so, because I use Instagram analytics now, and this is so. Instagram analytics allows you to see when people are going to your profile. So you have profile views, and I have recently started tracking, so that I've been able to break down how many profile views I've had every day since like March something on Instagram. And it's been fascinating. These are clearly people who do not interact with me most of the time, it seems, because I've also been diving into the analytics of like individual posts, and you can see which posts are viewed from the profile, and like the number of like the percentage of non-follower views versus follower views, and then also looking at accounts reached. So you can tell if you track it closely enough, which I have been doing because I'm insanely curious about this. You can see if there are people viewing posts multiple times because of the views count going up, but the account reach not going up. So I have I've noticed it both from follower views and non-follower views. So it is. That's why I'm like, it's probably more than one person. But there's also a possibility that it is a follower who also has a non-follower account that is checking in on me from different accounts. Like, that's the possibility as well, which is why I'm just like, there's no way for me to know at all who this person or multiple people are unless they choose to interact with me. So yeah, I'm insanely curious if that person happens to be watching the stream. Look, you don't have to tell me, but if you feel up to it, I am insanely curious who you are, and feel free to reach out and let me know.
I would love if this was a glitch in the Matrix kind of
Yeah, right.
where you have convinced yourself that it is a human person, and now you are starting to imagine a relationship with this person that is digital and not a physical representation.
Look, I've been talking to ChatGPT about this stuff to try and kind of wrap my.
You're not
I know, but like, just to try and wrap my brain around things. But like, if it was a bot or something, surely their activity would be different than what I'm noticing. The activity reads more along the lines of, this person's a little bit obsessed with me and is returning to certain posts, because there's certain posts that are revisited way more than others, and I'm like, what is up with this post that they're curious about? What are they trying to read into this post? Are they like reading the caption, or is it just a picture and they're like enjoying knocking one out while thinking about me? I don't know.
Take the win, man. Take the win. Take the win.
Yeah, so that's kind of where my experience with that is right now. So I know for sure that there's at least one person doing it. I also have learned, like, just from people who have reached out to me, like in DMs, who never comment or react to my posts. Sometimes they will reach out to me in a DM and send me a message and say, hey, that one post you said something and it resonated with me, and blah, blah, blah.
Cool.
And so that's been interesting. Like, I had no idea that this person was paying any attention to me whatsoever, because they never reacted to anything. So it probably happens a lot more than you think. Now, is there someone, or is there anyone I hope is checking up on me? Yeah, here's the secret. There's a part of me that wonders if it is a particular ex that I did not block, because I have blocked 2 of my exes. And just for like ego's sake, I would love to know that I like to think that he might be checking up on me. But I also try to convince myself that he's not, because like, it's safer for me to believe that he's not. So that's my answer.
Fair.
I think for me, do I think people check on my profile more than they interact with me? This comes down to, I think, primarily an issue of geography. So, like, I live in New York City. For everyone else who lives in New York City, why are they going to look at my profile? Like, why are they, as opposed to it just like popping up on their feed, why are they going to go out of their way to look me up, right? Whereas people that I don't have an opportunity to interact with, whether I interact with these other people in New York or not, no one's looking me up. Because there's always that idea of like, oh, well, I can just see Mike whenever. It's like, New Yorkers have never been to the Statue of Liberty. Why? Because we can go whenever we want. We just don't ever go. It's that thought, right? So people who I geographically am not close to, they do tend to like seek me out a little bit more, especially when people like meet you for the first time. You know, who is this person? Oh, cool. Oh, that's cool, right? And at least that's the hope that you have in the back of your head. Is there anyone that I hope is checking up on me?
Besides Steven Spielberg.
I was kind of being glib earlier when I said Spielberg, but there is some truth to that. That there's this hope that, like, as a comedian, as a performer, as a producer, you always want other people to take notice of the work that you're putting out there, right? Even if it's not me personally, the work that I'm producing can be seen by someone. And, you know, maybe it's something as simple as, you know, a Facebook reel or an Instagram reel. Or, you know, I happen to be friends, not that I know these people in real life, but we have like tons of friends in common. So like there are certain celebrities that I've become friends with on social media, only because we have many friends in common between the two of us. And so it's always that like voice in the back of your head that you're like, oh, I wonder if
they could be watching.
I wonder if Tim Meadows is going to see this. That guy.
You never know. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah, for sure. I remember something else I was going to add for this question. So I mentioned that I have both follower and non-follower views that have been checking my profile for pictures on my Instagram. And then I also mentioned I hope my ex is checking up on me. Now, this particular ex that I'm talking about has at least one account that still follows me, but also has other accounts that do not follow me. So that's why, like, if it is the same person, that's the only person that could be in my mind. There's probably other people that follow me that also have.
And this, we're talking about Instagram, right?
Yeah, on Instagram. Yeah.
Does Meta have a service, like a premium service, that you can actually, like, if you pay for the service, you can actually go back and see who's looking?
I don't think.
I'm sure there is.
No. There are like fake services, I think, that say that they can track who is checking your profile and stuff, but I don't think it's actually accurate.
Because LinkedIn will actually show you who's looking at your profile.
Yeah. TikTok also does if you turn that setting on, but Instagram, as far as I know, does not have a setting that allows for that. Yeah,
that's surprising.
It's not. So, yeah, I feel like there was something else I was going to add to that, but I can't remember now off the top of my head. So I'm going to bring up some more of Sundara's comments.
Woo.
Just added some. Mainly, he was just trying to say that he was not the person who's been stalking my Instagram. It's not me. I'm not on the gram.
Sure it isn't.
Hey,
sure
he who stopped it dealt it.
Mm-hmm.
He's accurate because he used to be on the gram and he comes up as a deactivated account in my list of followers.
But how many non-deactivated accounts does he have that he's not telling us about?
Mm-hmm.
He is definitely. He says there is, but it's accessible to advertisers and the feds only.
Probably.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Probably. He did say that too. No, Sundar is only on Instagram in photos that I've posted of us together hanging out on Instagram. So if anyone
technically
wants to know,
he is. Yeah.
he is not in his own account. Yeah. All right. Let's bring up the next question.
Let's hear it.
What do you think people are really looking for when they lurk online? Does it depend on their current or former relationship to you?
Boobs.
Boobies.
Boobs.
Boobies.
That's it. That's all that people are checking up on?
Yeah.
Okay, then explain to me why some of the pictures that have been viewed multiple times. Okay, and these are now search views that this person is using. There's I have no idea what
you're making this about. specifically you.
I know.
In a larger sense.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
In a larger sense.
In the larger sense, people normally have 2 reasons. That's it.
He said dudes, okay? That's a dude's reason
All right,
for
dicks.
lurking online.
Yeah.
Women are not looking for dicks online.
Some probably are.
Yeah.
If women are lurking online, it's probably because they have a crush on the person.
Sure.
That is probably the most common. Or they might be
Did we not
jealous.
just say that?
Yeah.
Dicks.
Penises.
That's not the same.
Isn't it though?
Isn't it?
They don't want to look at the dicks. They want to look at the face.
Let's
That
use
the dicks belong
a
to.
metaphor. Yeah. Who do dicks belong to? That's right.
Fine.
Hunky gentlemen.
I just prefer to keep it like more sensible.
Yeah. Gentleman hanging dong. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not looking for the genitalia.
Yeah.
If we wanted that, we could just be on, random dating apps where a guy decides to randomly send us a picture of his dong without being asked for it.
Yeah.
So anyway, having a crush on the person. Also, I think jealousy could be a reason. Like if it's a current or former partner of the object of their attraction, they might be curious about that person. Could be someone that they know is also attracted to the person that they're attracted to, so they like want to dig up dirt on that person to see if like they have a chance compared to you. So like there's the comparison kind of side of things. I feel like that's probably those are the main options for if it's a woman doing the lurking. Yes, Mike.
You just made a comment. If someone wants to check up on someone or or if they're curious about someone, I would like to submit for approval to the Midnight Society that does not fall under the purview of lurking.
No, why not?
Fair.
Especially that lurk is in quotation marks here. Lurk has
a different connotation.
Yeah, of being creepy, of being pervy, of having a not so pure motivation. Let's just put it that way.
That's one interpretation. I'm going to pull up the Merriam-Webster dictionary on my phone, and we'll see what definitions it has, because I agree that is one definition, but I don't think it's the only definition. Okay, the first definition: to lie in wait in a place of concealment, especially for an evil purpose.
There you go. There you go.
But that's not the only definition.
All right, go on.
To move furtively or inconspicuously. For
Seemingly
example,
for devious.
Shall I lurk about this country like a thief? It's a quote from Henry Fielding. To persist in staying. So, like, for example, the excitement of the first act is still lurking in the air. Richard Fletcher. So sometimes it's just like watching with no nefarious reason. They're just curious and want to, find out more about the person.
Mm-hmm.
Agree to disagree.
Fair enough. To be concealed but capable of being discovered.
See, I feel like that's more in line with this question.
Okay.
When they lurk online, when someone uses the term lurking online, curiosity very rarely comes into play into the conversation.
to be concealed but capable of being discovered. If they accidentally like a post, that's how they'll be accidentally discovered.
Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or if you are hiding in the closet, watching through the blinders.
Which is why you never get caught. Rookie mistake, never get caught.
Well, I mean, that's why you need to move the roller skates from where you're standing before you reveal yourself.
You, my friend, are what they call a connoisseur.
Thank you. I've had much experience in this field.
This is the to lie hidden definition. Look, there is one specifically for the internet. It says to read messages without contributing on an internet discussion forum.
I wouldn't call that lurking. I just call that non-contributing.
Such as news group or chat room or social media platform.
I would replace that word with a definition to be perusing.
This example says you can tweet as much as you want or lurk without comment, though consistent tweeting and audience engagement are key to attracting and keeping followers.
Yeah.
So I was using that more broad definition, not with nefarious reasons, because I have certainly lurked without having any nefarious reasons, just because I've been curious about a person.
Sure. Of course you have.
Have I done it for nefarious purposes sometimes? I did say that there was a while that I was checking up on my ex-husband in case he posted anything that might be relevant for our divorce.
Yeah.
But I am no longer doing so. So, it is not always for that. But do you guys think it's only, if it's a man doing it, it's just to look at the boobs?
99.9%.
Being facetious, yes.
Yeah.
So if I want more random viewers stalking my profile, I need to have more boob shots.
I mean, the people want what the people want. I mean, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Okay, but sometimes I do like. So I do not always wear a bra. Okay, this is me going into very.
Neither do we. Neither do we.
You guys are men. I have breasts. With. Anyway, so there are times that I am not wearing a bra, and sometimes I will post pictures where it's very obvious that you can see my nipples poking out of the shirts. They do not always get the attention from like revisits and things as I might have expected. Now, maybe sometimes that's because it's in a carousel post and you have to like skim through to find them.
If you're gonna post something saucy with the hope of it getting a lot of attention, then you need to make it accessible. It needs to be buried on page 32.
I want my stuff to be hidden so that people like have to dive and look search for it.
Put it this way: I don't think that Sydney Sweeney gets attention because of her acting capabilities. Like, I'll be completely honest with you. So
I agree.
Yeah.
So the difference is I don't want to only be appreciated for my breasts. I want to be appreciated for my whole self.
Well, the breasts get you there. Your brains keep you there.
Oh,
there you go.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Damn it. Yes. No, I mean, I do understand that they've definitely helped in getting some attention, but they do not generally get people to stick around for a long-term relationship. That's the thing. So that it's a balance, right? To have to.
We're talking about two different things.
Yeah.
I know.
Quite literally two different things.
Although I will say, since we're on this topic, I was just messaging Sundar earlier because I now just like yesterday or the day before, I was like scrolling through Amazon. I'm like, oh, these are like some cool anime figures. I'm like female anime figures wearing maid outfits. I'm like, I would love to get an outfit like that. And then so I started searching for maid outfits. So now I want to get a maid outfit for these kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
Wait, can you say that once again with a straight face?
And maybe slower.
Say it slower with a straight face.
Mm.
How? What? I don't know. I'm laughing too much. I want to get a maid outfit.
No, hold on. Get it out.
I need it.
Whip it out.
I want to get a maid outfit. Just to post some photos. Maybe I'll wear it for the live stream.
Do you just have that lying around, like just sort of moments like this? That's great.
It's on Slim's desk here in her.
Oh, that's awesome.
I forget that it's a thing.
But
That's so funny.
Before the eyes popped out, I could tell that it was a cow, and I'm like, "What? Do you want me to be a milkmaid?"
I'll work too. Mummy, uppies, give me uppies, mummy. Mummy, uppies. Yeah, do that. That's fine.
I'm sorry. I have to apologize for that joke because that joke was utterly ridiculous.
It was, and
a real eye opener there.
That joke has definitely been beaten to death.
All right, I'll take this joke and hoof it on out of here.
There you go.
Beaten to death like you beat some butter.
Yes, butter. Yeah, okay. That's what it's been beaten. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Cream that for all it's worth.
Yes. So we addressed. I feel like we addressed the first part of this question, but we didn't really address the second part of the question. Does it depend on the person's current or former relationship to the person that they're lurking at?
Well, see, that's the thing. If it's a stranger kind of lurking on me, I'm fine with it. But if it's someone that, let's say, I used to have a relationship or I used to know, there could be negative connotations possibly. But if if strangers keep lurking on me, I'm like, ooh. You know what I mean? So,
Sharon, I don't see you posting pictures, like thirst trap pictures on Instagram. It's like,
not yet. Not yet.
That's what you're going to be doing now. If you want to have people lurking on your profile for the thirst trap pictures, you got to post.
I'll get the girls out for the next one. Don't you worry. Yeah.
Does it depend on their current or former relationship to you? I don't think it really matters because in my definition, when people lurk on the internet, they have something very specific that they're looking for. And if they come across XYZ profile that ticks 2 of the 3 boxes of what they're looking for, then they might engage with that profile and see if they can get all 3 boxes ticked, so to speak.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whether they know the person or not.
Fair enough. I don't think I lurk on profiles that if I don't know the person, but I know that that's not like. I mean, I know there are plenty of people that do, just because parasocial relationships, right? They like enjoy whoever the personality is online, so they won't want to dig into what else that they're doing and things.
But there's also like people who specifically sexualize themselves on social media, like scrolling through reels or whatever, and their whole profile, it's not porn. Sorry, it's not corn. It's not that, but it's like one.
But it's part of that brand, right? That's how they get their clicks, their views.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
And it's not even like these are accounts that are trying to get you to go to their OnlyFans website. They're just like that is the end game. Like whatever.
That's the persona.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's to tantalize and it's to tease and get that dopamine rush.
To get that bag, man.
I get it. Like I have deliberately worn tops that show off my cleavage in my videos because I wanted to get more attention.
Yeah. It's just strategy. It's marketing 101. That's all it is.
Yeah. So I think that was. I wonder if that's one of the reasons why a video that I posted on Saturday got as much attention as it got, because I did not expect it to get as many views as it got, because it was like almost 10 minutes long. But I was definitely wearing a cleavage top. But I think also what was the topic?
I mean, it depends on the topic, but like, I mean, put it this way, like, why do you think Latina weather girls and news channels do so well in the ratings? I mean, let's be honest. So,
I understand. There's that
I would like to echo something that Sherrod said earlier, which is come for the boobs, stay for the brains, right?
Yeah.
And if all you're in the mood for is the boobs, so to speak, and the boobs aren't doing anything,
after a while,
then you don't have much.
You're laughing, but Mike's talking gospel right now. He's talking gospel.
I'm laughing because I've just realized that this is probably the reason that my Elon Musk joke video probably got a view today, was because I was wearing one of those cleavage tops.
There you go.
It was definitely a revisit because it was not a new account.
There you go.
But like, okay, I've seen the boobs now. I don't appreciate what it is that you're talking about. I'm gonna go. I've seen your boobs. Oh, you're not gonna do anything with them. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for the people who are in that market.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think this is probably one of the reasons why Elon Musk's fanboys did not appreciate that post when I posted it to TikTok. Their comments were not appreciative at all. And there was definitely one person who was like, "You're just wearing that top to like show off your boobs or something." They were like,
"I'll just go up, thanks.
Like, put some clothes on."
Thanks for the engagement, sir. Yeah,
you figured me out. The oldest game in the book. Guilty. Oh boy.
If I want some kind of attention, sometimes that's the kind of attention that I want.
Yeah, fair enough. Nothing wrong with that.
Hey, fanboy, we're not reinventing the wheel here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready to move on to the next question. You guys ready to move on to the next question? Here we go.
Next question.
We're moving through these at lightning speed. It might be a short episode unless anyone else comes and joins us in the chat. Have you ever caught someone checking up on you digitally? And if so, how did it feel?
I don't think I have per se. Because like I say, on Facebook, you can't really tell really who's been looking without paying or understanding the analytics per se. So I don't really know. I've never really caught anyone, if that makes sense.
I feel like the only way that you could catch someone in that regard is people who aren't trying to hide, and they go through every profile picture you've ever posted and like every.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had that a few times.
I've done that a few times.
Yeah, so that counts. I mean, it doesn't say that they're intentionally trying to hide in this. Under a fake account, right, Sherrod?
Yeah, no, it was all real. I've got nothing to hide. Just accept me. Mike. Just accept me.
Guys, I have to go.
He'll be back. He'll be back. Don't worry. He always comes back.
You're too much. Can't resist you.
Wow. I need to get one of those. That's a good idea, actually.
The other way that someone can catch someone digitally checking up on them while the person is trying to be clandestine or hiding the fact that they're doing it is if they accidentally like a post.
Yeah.
No. So I'm pretty sure that there are times that I've definitely accidentally done it before. Like the time I accidentally clicked on my ex's TikTok account and then freaked out and then wrote a whole stand-up thing about it. That was not intentional at all. But no, the example that I have where this actually happened to me was, and I think I've talked about this on other streams before, a different ex of my ex-husband. So the person he'd been with the longest prior to me, like his first girlfriend who he was also engaged to for a while before they split up. She had been stalking my blog. And at the time, like, she lives in Malaysia. So when I noticed I was getting all these Malaysian views on my blog, I'm like, could this be my ex who is deep diving into my blog? Because who else in Malaysia would be that interested in going through all of my posts? No, it turned out it was her, my ex-husband's ex-fiance, which I only found out because she was also going into my Instagram, like really far back into post, and liked a really old post accidentally. And then when I looked at her account to see who it was, I'm like, is this my ex-husband's ex-fiance? So I sent her a message to confirm that it was. And and then we eventually went on to meet in person a couple of times, which was a kind of interesting experience.
You just made me realize something in this story. You made me realize that every now and again, periodically, I will get a notification that someone has liked a post or a photo, like one single post or one single photo from a long, long time ago. And all this time, I've just been operating under the assumption that, like, that post would pop up in someone else's feed of like, hey, 1 year ago, blah, blah,
it's the algorithm. Yeah, exactly.
10 years ago, right? But I've always been confused because the type of post that it would have been, or that it was, is not the kind of post that would have been recognized as like an anniversary post, right? Yeah. And so now I'm getting a notification, and I've had that a few times, but I've always I bet you somebody was digitally stalking me and going through all my stuff and accidentally. It was a random person too.
Probably.
Yeah. I do occasionally get those like random likes on older posts, but they're usually the people who are liking them are usually tagged in the post, so it did come up on their Facebook memories in some way. That's usually what I notice for those ones. But yeah, I hope that whoever this person is that's stalking me on my Instagram slips up and accidentally likes something. I think like there are times that I have seen I've gotten a notification that somebody liked one of my posts, and then when I go to look at the likes, they're not there, which means that they unliked it. So did they not want me to know that they had looked at it, or did they not like didn't mean to react to it in some way? I get curious about those situations too.
Maybe.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's for me, I don't think I've ever caught anyone like it's weird. Like, I've seen people do it intentionally. Like for example, I was at a friend's house, and she was going through my profile pictures, and I was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, she just looked at me and she went, "I'm gonna like everything," and she went back like 20 years and just started liking everything. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, I just want to like clog up your notifications, and just started doing that. So that was pretty funny.
That's one reason to do it, I suppose.
Yeah, just to clog up my notifications. Yeah.
One way to get your attention. I'm just gonna like everything.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing? Because I was literally standing behind her. I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, check your phone.
And that's otherwise when you go.
Yeah. So other than that, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I think that probably even though I don't know the identity of this person at the moment, or multiple people, if it's multiple people, the fact that I can tell that somebody is checking up on my Instagram is somewhat relates to this. And I can talk about how does it make me feel. I'm mainly just curious. Like, I'm insanely curious to know who it is and why they're doing it, which is why I keep thinking about it.
I will say, Instagram as opposed to Facebook it is so much easier to accidentally like a post because it's
Yeah.
a
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
when you phone, like you don't have that
Yeah.
option on Facebook. So yeah, that's
I've
Yeah.
accidentally made friend requests on Facebook
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
seen other people do it to me, because like when you hover over something and or like briefly hover over something and then the pop-up of the person's profile goes, and like if you're clicking, then you can accidentally click on something on Facebook. Definitely had that happen. But yeah, I do think it's easier to accidentally like a post on Instagram.
Side note. Can you guys hear fireworks going off in the background right now?
No.
No.
So this is a very popular thing in my neighborhood that people set off fireworks. It's midnight in New York, by the way. And these
In the
fireworks
lead up to 4th of July?
Yeah, these will go all the way up until like 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's just anyway, it's quite loud, and the cats are freaking out. So I didn't know if you guys could hear it.
Oh no, I can't hear it on your end, but it did. I I was like wondering if you were talking about. I also had fireworks in my street earlier before the stream, and I wondered if they were still going to be going off during our stream and if they were going to be noticeable. I'm wearing headphones, so I can't tell if there's anything going on in the background, but it's definitely
Okay.
a
Hold on,
possibility.
let me go check on something. I'll be right back.
No worries.
All right, I guess while he is doing that, I will bring up my dad is watching now.
Ooh, hey, Frank.
So let me pull up here. He says, you catch me checking on you all the time. Dad, are you diving deep into my Instagram posts? Are you going to my profile and looking at multiple posts and like revisiting things at all? I have wondered if my dad might have been one of them.
Could be.
Because, okay, so there's another thing that I didn't bring up before, but I have read that if you go into your messages on Instagram and you click the start a message, then it usually gives you a list of suggested accounts to message, right? And I've read that the higher up in the list that somebody appears, that can be a sign that that person is secretly checking your profile. Not entirely true. I experimented with this with one of my alternate accounts on my public account, so I could like try and ascertain whether this is true. So I went to my public profile with my private profiles account and wanted to see how long that showed up in the suggested accounts to message, and it was a very long, I'd only checked for a couple of days, and it was a very long time that it was showing up in the suggested accounts to message. So I'm like, yeah, I can't trust like any of this. Is like, it could be anyone that's in there.
Yeah, the social media algorithm is just everywhere, so it really depends.
So yeah, that's how it is. All right. My dad also says, I'm thinking I have turned into a helicopter dad. Dad, I feel like that you're more just invested in the live streams though, because you enjoy the live streams. I mean, I know you do like my my Instagram posts and stuff as well. I think this is next comment. I usually leave a note, but occasionally just like, yeah, but Dad, okay, so I know you do those things. I'm wondering if you ever go into my Instagram profile and scroll back through posts to make sure that you saw everything, anything like that. Because my dad is a possible person who might be doing that, and it is someone that I have considered could be the follower view that I get sometimes. But I don't think my dad would be somebody that is scrolling back through months old posts. Like I can tell you which posts are getting the most attention because I've been tracking the view counts on them. So yeah, that's That's how curious I've gotten about it, guys. I know I'm a little bit obsessed, but I am a data analyst, and that is my excuse because it's the one thing that is keeping my data analyst skills active while I'm not employed in data analytics.
Using your skills for personal gain.
That's right. So my dad says, I have read some of your longer posts, not that often though. Yeah, that's not the same as what I was asking.
Though.
No, yeah, okay. But Dad, that's just when they show up in your feed though, right? You're not clicking on my profile to go look at those posts. That's what I'm asking. If you're going into my profile, that's what I'm asking, because we were talking about how I clearly have at least one person who has been going into my profile to dig up posts and look at specific posts in my Instagram. And I'm so curious about who it is. Huh?
Can
you can if there are multiple views, but the number of unique accounts viewing the post doesn't go up. So it's somebody who is revisiting a post.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So like, for example, I have a picture from Mother's Day where I'm wearing a t-shirt from the anime Attack on Titan. This past week, a couple of days ago, I think it was, that post was viewed 10 times by the same person who is not a follower. I'm like, and it was someone who had viewed it previously, and they also found it by using the search. And I've tried like experimenting with Instagram search to like find my content, and I'm like, I can't even find my content that way. So I'm like, I have no idea how they are using search to find this stuff, but they're coming back to it, clicking on it multiple times. I'm like, this is.
If it's
really
not
curious.
a unique view, if it's a repeat viewer, theoretically, you have how many? I don't know how many people follow you on Instagram. Let's just say it's 400. Theoretically, you have 400 unique viewers, but I don't know, 22,000 views.
Yeah.
Spread across, and I'm just picking these numbers randomly. Let's just say 22,000 views spread across 400 unique viewers. Theoretically, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you are interpreting that those 10 views of that one photo as being from one person, but it could, in theory, hypothetically, it could be 10 different people looking at the same photo at the same time.
Yes. But if you're looking at like a post that was posted months ago and they've intentionally gone to my profile to view it, and I can see the stats of how many profile views that I've had on a particular day, that limits the number of people that it could be. Like if I've only had one profile view on that day, it's one person that has viewed all of these things. If I've had 5 profile views on that day, then that's up to 5 people that it could be.
And how many profile views did you have for this photo?
Well, this one was that particular one that I mentioned this past week. I said it was a search view. I have no idea how people are coming across search views to come, to find my posts. But when they are profile posts, yeah, it's generally 1 or 2 views I have of a profile view in a day.
Oh, okay.
Occasionally up to like 5 is the maximum that I've had.
Yeah, I'm specifically referring to that one photo that got 10 views. That's specifically what I'm referring all of these I'm questioning towards.
Fair enough. Yeah. So that's interesting to me, and like I said, I'm insanely curious. All right. My dad says, in terms of whether he goes to my profile, he says once or twice after something said here on live. Okay. So I do think that there have been, I've definitely noticed a trend of some profile views on like just after the live stream. So those ones are probably my dad. But that would be the follower views. That doesn't account for the non-follower views. And Sundar is back as well and says, it's not me. I'm not on the internet, except right now in the chat, chatting with us, Sundar.
Well, if you're still watching the show, Sundar, why aren't you asking us any deep and personal questions?
Yeah, ask us some related questions, Sundar. We love to answer audience questions if you have some, even if it's why haven't you bought that maid outfit yet? All right, we have a couple more questions, I think. Okay.
Next question.
Next question is, how do you manage the urge to check in on someone?
Oh, I'm sorry. Finish the question. Go ahead.
What would you say?
It's all right. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
You said, how did you manage the urge? And I said,
Masturbate.
Okay. That could be your answer to this question. How do you manage the urge to check in on someone you're no longer connected with?
I think he already answered that question.
It clearly was the answer to this. No, he's married now, so it's different. So, but there are there might be other people that you've lost touch with that are not in a romantic sense that you might be curious about.
I don't know. The serious answer is I feel like social media has done us a disservice in this regard. We have instant gratification that gets satisfied hundreds of times every single day. So, growing up in the world that we do now, we don't have any training, real world life training on how to manage urges. Yeah. Where before social media, before the internet, that's all you had to do was manage your urges.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop being a fucking creeper. Stop doing it.
Oh yeah, the internet's made it a lot easier to be a creeper, for sure.
So how do you manage the urge to check in on someone? Grow up and knock it off.
Yeah.
That's a general answer. You don't have urges anymore, Mike, to check in on people, I'm assuming then?
No, of course. Everyone has urges.
Yeah, you don't. You just grow up.
Knock it off.
I don't know. I think sometimes that's easier said than done for some people. What about you, Sharad?
I don't know. It's tricky because obviously the urge is there, but sometimes I think about what do I gain myself by checking in on them. Is it because I want to see them struggling? Do I want to see them succeed? But either or whatever's happened to them, how do I benefit? And if I don't, what's the point? So it kind of goes back around, like, I want to see what they do. I'm just curious, but then in my mind, I'm like, but what's that going to do to me? And I'm just like,
It keeps the wound open.
Yeah,
it keeps the wound open a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was interested what you said about if you're sometimes curious to see if they're like doing poorly or something. I don't think we brought that up as an example of why somebody might be. If
they're doing poorly after your relationship.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I still can't understand the word that you're saying.
No, like if let's say you guys are no longer in a relationship or you're no longer friends, in your mind you want to see them going down instead of going up.
Yeah, you want to see them depressed and things.
But there was a specific word that both of you were saying.
Poorly. Poorly.
Thank you. Poorly. I couldn't understand your non-American accent.
Poo. She said poo.
Poorly.
Pooly.
Pooly.
I clearly understood that was the reason why you couldn't understand it, which is why I was trying to give a different
Poo.
definition or a different word for
I
it.
got context clues. I got what you were saying. I just
Wanted to know what the word was. This is what happens when you have an Australian host. I don't think we brought up
a Malaysian and American walk into its chat room.
And there you go.
Yep.
3 different nationalities with different accents. Except Sharon, I think you've got like a British accent. It's more British.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Anyway, so I don't think we brought up like lurking on somebody because you want to see them doing badly for themselves, isn't it? As a reason.
I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, I mean, it's part of the vanity in us. Whether it's a former partner, whether it's a former friend or a colleague, you like to think that if you intentionally, let's say, ended the relationship, friendship, or you no longer want to be associated with that person. I think it's intrinsic in human nature to think that while we might be doing better, the opposite's happened to them. They're doing worse without us being part of their lives in some way. So, yeah.
So you want them to be miserable without you? I've definitely.
I was the spark. I was the spark, that kind of thing. And without the spark, there is no fire to like ignite their flame. So so yeah, it's just part of that.
I definitely still think that, and I think this is what is. I touched on this earlier, where I have this ego part of me that wants my ex to be still checking in on my social media, because I think that's the reason why. Because I want him to realize that I was the light in his life, and he no longer has me, and so that's the way that he can check in and see how much better I'm doing now without him. It's I'm not necessarily, but it's all like a facade anyway. What we share on social media, or it's only a part of our lives. We're never sharing our whole selves anyway. And sometimes we're like, we don't want to show the parts where we're feeling depressed and vulnerable. I'm more inclined to do that than other people. I think one of my videos yesterday, I was still my hair was wrapped up in a towel after I got out of the shower, because I'm like, I had this idea in the shower, I want to record it, and I don't want to wait for my hair to dry before I record this video, otherwise I'm going to forget what it is that I want to say. But I've done videos where I was crying as well, because I'm like, I need to be able to express my whole self in some sense. So I don't know. So anyway, I understand that there is definitely that aspect.
You're only human. You're only human.
How do I manage the urge to check in on someone I'm no longer in contact with? I guess the biggest urge that I've had was the one I mentioned earlier, this particular ex that I was talking about, that I hope is checking on me. I was checking on his social media for a long time, and it was very habitual, very addicting. And I went cold turkey when I just like made the decision of like, I need to stop doing this. I'm not going to do it anymore. So it was like just sheer willpower. And then once I got past that initial hurdle where it was challenging for me and I still like wanted the dopamine fix of it, then it was realizing that I didn't want to give him my attention if he didn't want to have any interaction with me. And then it was like, when I'm kind of thinking about that, I'm like, you know what, I don't want to know about what's going on in his life unless he wants to communicate with me directly about it. And if he doesn't want to reach out and contact me and talk to me about it, then it doesn't matter what's going on in his life to me, if we're not connected. So those are the things that I've been telling myself to prevent myself from any kind of urges of checking in.
What about you, Mike?
Oh, I thought I already answered
Yeah,
this.
he answered that question.
No, but like, how do you stop yourself from checking in on people? Like for me, the easiest way is just to block them outright if I really, really, really have to.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
honestly, yeah, because I've shared the story that's what I ended up having to do with the woman that I was obsessed with for like 14 years. I say obsessed with, that puts it in a very creepy light.
It was just a bit of light
Attracted
stalking.
to.
Yeah.
Just a bit of light stalking, nothing
I
serious.
convinced myself that I was in love with her, and for 14 years, I actually believed that I was in love with her. We never had a relationship. Now that I'm saying this all out loud, with the preface of being creepy, it really sounds really creepy and sketchy. But no, I mean, I was in love with her. She wasn't in love with me, and that's fine. That's okay. So I had to sever all ties. And it wasn't until I was able to delete her phone number out of my phone, that's when the real healing, I guess, began. And a few years later, I met my wife. So, yeah, like that wound was just open for so long, and it just couldn't heal because I kept like picking at the stitches, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is interesting that blocking is your solution for this sort of thing. I don't think I've ever blocked someone for that reason. I think the times that I've blocked someone, it's because I don't want them to look at my content. So like the exes that I mentioned that I'd blocked on Instagram was because I didn't want them looking at my content online. I had no interest in looking at their stuff. I just didn't want them to see my stuff because they were people that I knew had a penchant for checking in on me. Like my ex-husband, for example, he's someone that I've blocked on all the social media everywhere that I can, but I know he still reads my blog because I can't like block him from my blog. It's a public website, right?
Right.
And I know that he has checked it because he's referenced things that I've written about on my blog that there's no other way that he would know about it. With my other ex that I've blocked was, I think I talked about this on a live stream earlier this year. He had wanted to reconnect as friends. And so he had mentioned that he'd been looking at some of my social media content, and he seemed to have formed some kind of opinion about things. But his interpretation of things was not really in line with how I perceived things. And then when he, got upset at me about something, I was just like, you know what, I'm done with this. I don't have the energy to deal with this kind of thing anymore. So unless you're going to take some accountability from your side of things, don't contact me. And then I blocked him on Instagram, and I think I didn't block him on Facebook because I just unfriended him because I wanted some way for him to reflect and reach back out to me when he was willing to be accountable for his side of things. But then he blocked me on Facebook, so I'm like, fine, whatever. Like I don't care at this point unless you're willing to be accountable. Whatever. But I just
that as well.
I know that he still reads my blog if I post stuff, I believe. He is still a subscriber of my blog. So like I said, I can't block people on that. But at least blocking him on Instagram, he's not able to check in on those things. And that's why, like, I don't think that either of them are it is possible, I suppose, for them to have created an account, an alt account to get around the block to go and check in on me. But I doubt that they would put that effort in, especially because when you block someone, you can click the thing that says block this person and every other account that they create. So I think it's a little bit more challenging to get around. And you also, I have discovered, you can't click on posts from a profile if you are not logged in. So it wouldn't register as a view. So all of those views has to be an account that is logged into Instagram. This is how deeply I've dived into this thing.
I will go back to what I said before about like our society. Our society right now has either through non-development or through non-use, we have lost, for the most part, the ability to manage our own urges, because everything is so much more instantly gratifying than it ever was in human history. So I think part of this question, to answer this question, how do you manage the urge? I think a big part of that is self-preparation. We need to think of let me back up. There is a byproduct that happens from not being able to deal with someone else's bullshit or whatever, just not being able to deal with another person and blocking them on social media, do whatever type of digital blocking that we can as a way of removing oneself, right? Putting enmity between the two. What I'm about to say is going to come across judgmental, and it's going to come across harsh.
Spicy. Let's hear it.
I didn't mean for it to be judgmental, but it is harsh, and I stand by the harshness. It's petty. And we all do it. We're all petty in that regard. So how do we build up a tolerance for our own pettiness? That is something that society has. I don't think society's asked that question yet.
Own that shit. If you have no shame, that's the thing that a lot of people struggle with, is the internalized shame, and they want to project it out onto other people. But when you can feel your own shame and sit in it, then I think it's easier to acknowledge and not project it out onto other people. You can accept that this is a part of yourself, and maybe
very much so.
But only when you're willing to face it can you work on it, right? I
think part of that byproduct is that it also, by acting on the pettiness of that feeling, there's another byproduct, which is you create real hurt with other people. Real hurt. If Dominica, let's just say that you and I were dating, right?
Okay.
I'll be watching in the corner.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a hypothetical situation since Mike is married.
Hypothetical. Yeah.
So if you were to break up with me and I was blindsided by it, right? And then as a means of protecting yourself, you block me from everything that you can block me from. And now I have no means of contacting you except for showing up on your doorstep and knocking on the door. But I mean, there's also a chance that you may have taken out a restraining order. So I have no opportunity whatsoever to discuss this with you. You have made all the decisions for me, and I have no input. Now I have such hurt and such resentment towards you. No, granted, this is an extreme example, but I feel that it still proves the point, in that I have so much hurt and vitriol towards you that if I can't have some rational contact with you, chances are I'm either going to take it out on myself, or more likely I'm going to take that out on others.
Other people, yeah. I think I think at the end of the day, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is the fact is there's no closure.
Right.
So the fact is, if someone says, "Okay, we're done," and then I'm disappearing from your life entirely, you're just there going, like, yeah.
You can have the same reaction without the blocking as well, as if, you know,
Exactly.
we've talked about this before with the ghosting situation. We had a few episodes back where we talked about that. You know, people can cut you off without blocking you, and you know, you can still send them messages, but you know, you'll either be left on read or won't even be read at all, and it'll have the same impact. It's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now?
So I say all of that. I lay all of that groundwork to come back to how do you manage the urge? And I was, you know, honestly, I was being, or truthfully, I was being glib when I said from a Gen X perspective of blow the fuck up. You know, but I think there are aspects of that need to be articulated so as to not do damage for other people while protecting yourself. We just don't have practice for it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, this is from the other side of perspective of the, you know, distancing and not replying and that sort of thing. That decision is also an urge in a way as well. Like that decision to not reply, it's like that urge to pull back, to pull away.
Well, of course,
and those people,
we've all been in a situation too.
Those people also need to grow the fuck up.
Yes.
Be adults and have conversations.
Do the hard work.
As hard as it is, you need to be able to manage those difficult feelings. And maybe it takes some time away to process your feelings before you can come back. Sometimes that's really necessary, but disappearing completely.
And I think that's a great place to start, because that's something that I have to do. Not that I'm if Kim and I ever have a disagreement, there are times that I'm so like, I don't have the words in this moment, so give me a minute, or give me like an hour or a day or whatever. I need time to craft my response, because I don't want to say something that's going to A, be the wrong thing, and B, be the wrong thing.
Yeah,
that's very
you don't want to say something you're going to regret. You don't want to say something that's going to be hurtful. You don't want to say something that you can't take back. So there's definitely situations where things get heated, and the best course of action is to take some time away to process and figure out.
We live in a world where pettiness gets celebrated.
Yeah.
Well, if I can share a personal story, there's just one name that pops to mind. I have a cousin who is a year older than me, and you know, we grew up together. We grew up like brothers. We see each other every day. Very, 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 very close. I know, what an asshole, right? But like we became very close. Unfortunately, after I fell ill. When I came back home, I would message him saying, you know, obviously at the time I'm bedbound, I can't leave the house. If you could drop by as and when you can, I would really appreciate it. And he'd always be like, yeah, sure, I'll drop by. Never did, not once. And later on, when his father and my mother had a bit of a, let's just say a legal tiff in terms of their inheritance from my grandparents, I actually reached out to him and I said, listen, what's happening between your dad and my mom is their shenanigans, their stuff to hang out with. You and me, we're good. So honestly, whatever happens, don't feel awkward. He never replied. He left me on red. And when my mom passed away, he never showed up. And what's funny is his high school friends who I met when I was a teenager, 13, 14, 15, they came for the funeral. He never did. And after that, I was just, I remember like I was going through my social media and his name would pop up. I'm like, at this point, what's the point? And I just went, done.
Yeah.
sometimes you just gotta make those decisions, and that sounds like that was the healthiest decision for you, because that person clearly didn't care. But those kinds of moments are where you really learn who your true friends are, whether they will show up for you in those times of need, right?
Yeah, like I think I mentioned this to Dominica. Like the a really interesting thing is my childhood best friend Olivier. He would go above and beyond when I first got back, when I was bedbound. He would drive. I mean, he lived in Kuala Lumpur Center, and to get from where he was to me, driving might take over an hour depending on traffic. This is what he would do. He would come drive over during peak traffic, pick me up. We'd go back to Kuala Lumpur to a fancy restaurant he'd pay for, and then he would drop me back before going back to his house. So that's literally half a day, more than a day gone. And he would just do that on a dime. So that goes to show, whenever you're down, you got to count. I mean, you can count who will pick you up.
Yeah, for sure.
Agreed.
All right, I think we're done with this question now, right?
Yeah.
Are you pointing at something, Mike?
No, I was saying next question.
Next question.
We have some chat comments to bring up first. That's what I was going to do, which is great because there's like one question left, I think. Why are you not letting me scroll?
Bring on the chat.
Bring on the chat.
Yeah, bro.
All right, my dad says, I'm not a fan of either Instagram or Threads. I actually avoid most people I know on them because I don't want to be trapped in using the form much. To me, Facebook allows more depth. Question, does Instagram and Threads have a word count or a limit in terms of what you can and cannot post? Yes. And Threads is shorter than Instagram because you can cross-post from Instagram to Threads, but only if the character count is within Threads' limit. Clearly, I've tried. Fair enough. And yeah, I think Facebook probably also has a character limit, but it's way longer than what it is on Instagram, because Instagram was created to be a photo and sharing platform, and then now it's evolved into photos and videos. And so most of the content is going to be within the image or the video itself, and the description is more just if you have something additional to say. I usually write longer captions on my Instagram, but I have definitely reached the limits a couple of times, and I've had to scale back what I wrote. I remember that was something that I came up to when a few weeks back I did like a day in the life series for a week. Like I posted what I was up to every day for a week. And one of those posts, I wanted to write too much than what fit in the caption, so I had to narrow it down. You were too big. You were too big to fit. Too big. I'm too wordy and verbose. That's my problem. Lego Timmy is in the house. I'm going to bring up his wave for us there. Welcome. Thank you for acknowledging the episode 30 earlier on. I don't know how long ago it was that you left that message in the chat, but I do appreciate it. Okay, my dad's next comment is, I find I spend too much time blocking and deleting those that have links to porn. Yeah, I get those followers and requests and stuff as well. Yeah. It's like I don't care. Like messages that come up and
hey Frank, can you send me those links?
Yeah, for research purposes.
I always I would never click on those things, but one of the reasons, I mean, I'm not interested in porn like that anyway, but one reason to not is I'm worried that it's got spam and virus and malware and that sort of thing. I never You're thinking like an adult. I am. I do not think with what's between my legs. That's not where my brain is. All right. My dad's next comment is, I tend to read profiles to quietly pray for people going through stuff or those sharing insights. My following list is low and followers low because of all the deleting.
Yeah.
Actually, really interesting the fact that Frank brought this up. I was just going to say, I just read something before we had this meeting on Facebook. A friend of mine who I went to SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design with, she actually posted this really, really long post. And I was surprised because I normally don't see her post very often. And she actually said that she's been diagnosed with schizophrenia, schizophrenic disorder. And I remember just thinking, like, oh wow, it's an incredible story. I got to read everything, and it made me think, like, were there any signs? And in my mind, I mean, we weren't close per se, but we worked in class group projects, so we hung outside of class, and I never noticed, and it just goes to show that, we're not all going through battles we don't normally see, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and the fact is that I read this, I was just like, bull. And it instantly made me want to engage. So I commented, I liked, and I also sent her a private message just saying, hey, listen, if you'd like to talk, I'm always here for you. So I think in some ways it's also a good thing for people to share publicly, because as I'm sure you two might agree, like reaching out to people to share deep stuff, it's not just an issue, a burden on yourself, it's a burden on them. If you just put it out there into the ether with your social media, it's out there.
Anyone who's interested in engaging can. There's an invitation to engage, but if you just want to scroll on by, then you can. It's not like there's no
harm, no foul
with it.
No harm, no foul. Yeah.
A number of years ago, to that very point, a number of years ago, I believed that I was addicted to pornography. And I was going to all the support groups, I was talking to everybody that I could and, doing everything that I could to, kick the habit. And so I made this long, intense post on Facebook, and the number of people that reached out and said, thank you for this. I struggle with the same thing. And I also need to get help. You have inspired me to, go out and get the help. And a lot of my posts came from, do you guys know Terry Crews, the actor Terry Crews from Brooklyn?
Yeah.
From White Chicks.
Yes. Yeah. He's wonderful. So this was around the same time that he publicly came out and said that he struggled with an addiction to pornography. And so that was the impetus of my post. And then all these people that I knew had reached out to me. And so it's that chain of kindness begets kindness, hate begets hate, strength begets strength, because I didn't feel like it was a courageous thing to, put my business out there. That was something that I needed to do for me. Yeah. I didn't see it as like a courageous act. But for other people, they saw it as a courageous act because that's something that they themselves didn't have the courage to say in public, but because now they knew someone who did, now they can, they don't feel alone.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be the fact that they're going through the exact same thing like you. It could be the fact that this person put his fears openly out. I can at least try to do the same thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've definitely had that. Yeah, I've had those kinds of experiences as well. When I was talking in my filtered Facebook posts that I do, I was talking about a toxic relationship, and I had at least one person reach out to me about their experience that was similar. And their appreciation for the fact that I talked about it. And it was someone that I never would have dreamed of having that same kind of experience. So, it's amazing to have those, be able to have that kind of impact on someone. I definitely had, like when I used to be identifying as polyamorous, I would have posts that I would talk about polyamory and jealousy and this sort of thing. And I had people would private message me about how I had helped them kind of figure out their own relationship preferences and stuff as well. So, you know, just putting yourself out there, you're probably impacting more than the people who are reaching out to you. You're probably also impacting a lot of people who are reflecting on that stuff without saying anything because they don't feel brave enough to talk to you about it, but still appreciate what you're putting out there. I've definitely had those. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I've had those kinds of experiences if I've had people reaching out and tell me how much they've appreciated my sharing and opening up about my own experiences.
It's actually really interesting you mentioned that. I was rewatching a featurette the other day about Stan Lee, the Marvel comic book writer and
the creator of Marvel.
The creator, yeah. And he was talking about
made these characters.
Just the one, the one and only, just the one. He was basically it was he was talking about Spider-Man. And he said the fact that, you know, when creating Peter Parker and who he was, it was meant to be someone. I mean, we're so used to heroes being these titans and have high statuses, like one's an alien, one's a multi-billionaire. But what about if he's just a kid and who actually has real kid problems? Mm-hmm. Like he's not popular, he can't get the girl, parents or his paternal figures are in ill health and you know not rich. He's struggling to like get his assignments done, struggling to get work. And I thought in some ways that's more interesting than the whole Spider-Man aspect itself. So it just goes to show. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I like the X-Men with all of their dating issues. Real world problems.
Well, the thing about X-Men, if I can go down this rabbit hole for a moment, what I connect with the X-Men about is less about the drama in between the characters themselves and more about the larger social commentary.
Yeah.
X-Men, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the first issue debuted in 1966 at the height of the civil rights movement. And you know, the X-Men were created as a part of the conversation of the civil rights. Mm-hmm. Here is a group of people who were born differently, who are feared and rejected by society, and all they want is just to
exist. That's it.
To exist, just be accepted for who they are. Now, that description can talk about people of color. That description can talk about mutants. That description can talk about the LGBTQ community.
Neurodivergence. People with disabilities.
Neurodivergence.
Neurodivergence, exactly. And that's one of the newer developments coming out of our society right now, is that, or rather the light is being shown on neurodivergence, of whom I have 2, possibly 3 nieces and nephews who are all neurodivergent. And it is it's so pertinent to the world that we live in. Mm-hmm. And for anyone who watches the new X-Men cartoon and says, why is there so much social commentary? I just want superheroes.
Have you never watched X-Men?
That's the thing. Like one thing I remember a lot about the original X-Men animation was, I mean, it's crazy. Not just the Brotherhood of Mutants, who you could see that happening, and also like just real life kind of issues and how appealing Genosha was for them.
Yeah,
and it just goes to show that, you know, it was more of a social commentary, because if X-Men lived in a world where either everybody was an X-Men or everybody was living in kumbaya, as it were, I mean the story would nowhere have been anywhere as compelling.
Yeah.
Also, think about this. This like compounds the whole issue. You have people who were born differently who have superpowers, right? But then you have the Avengers who have varying
abilities,
degrees of abilities or superpowers. The Avengers are accepted because they weren't created differently.
Yeah.
the mutants are rejected because they were created differently. Even Bruce Banner, the Hulk.
I mean, he's sort of shunned.
Arguably,
yeah, he is shunned.
Yeah,
well,
he's shunned. Yeah.
only because they're scared of him. They don't. They're scared that he's going to like
Hulk out.
destroy their entire town, right?
Fair, which is fair.
Which he totally could. But the Bruce Banner side of him, they're not really scared of. They don't.
Yeah, they celebrate him. Yeah,
you know, because he still was born average.
I'm going to get us back on topic now because
sorry. It's really interesting. Really interesting.
I enjoy talking about like nerdy stuff like this as well. But I think, like you were saying that we need to make sure that we stay on topic.
Yes. My fault. Sorry.
I am bringing you back. All right. Timmy just said first like. I think Timmy's the person that likes all of my live streams when he shows up. So appreciate that, Timmy. All right, my dad also says, if I disappear soon, it's because I am expecting a visitor soon. No worries.
Well, thank you for dropping by. Yeah.
He checks up when anything he missed later on. Anyway, but it's fine. We have like one more question left. Anyway, I think. I hope this is a question and not
next question.
Something else.
No mas.
Okay. Yes, this is the last question. Do you think it's ever healthy or even healing to observe from a distance?
Can I tackle this one first, s'il vous plaît?
Yes, you may.
Yeah, I think it's very healthy because whenever, correct me if I'm wrong, whenever we're in the moment, it's very, very hard to see things from the outside in the sense that, okay, this is happening to me. This is how I deal with it. And you're passionate and you believe that you're right. And, if the other person or people don't agree with you, the world's going to end for whatever reason or not. But obviously with time and with distance, if you can, you can see how you behave. Maybe, okay, you can go, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But at the same time, even if you were in 100% of the right, you can realize, oh, it's not that person didn't like me or didn't agree with me. They just were not ready, And in some ways, yeah, so it's a reflection on both you and the other person. It could be you in the wrong, they were in the wrong, what have you. But at the time, you can just go, okay, that didn't work then. What can I take away from that to make sure not only does it not happen again, but to change it in a way that the outcome is something that you would much prefer.
Yeah. Do you feel like this observation you're talking about is like more internal observation as you're processing, or do you think it includes like checking in on them on social media or what have you from a distance? Because I think that's what is intended by this question is like, right. Is it ever healthy or even healing to observe somebody through social media?
Okay. I can admit to this. There is one ex in particular that I do every once in a while. I do stalk. I don't message her. I don't like or comment on her photos.
Lurk.
I'm a lurker. There you go. I'm a lurker. And but I remember like seeing in her posts, her pictures. Like as I said, she's in a relationship now, and the thing is, she's happy. And whenever I look at that, I'm not gonna lie. The first time I'm like, it should be because of me. But as time goes on, I actually feel so much relief that she's happy, because if she didn't get it from me, the fact is she got it at all. Wonderful. And I honestly can say, like, do I wish sometimes that we were together? Yes. But am I content and am I at peace with her happiness? 110%. So
yeah. Sometimes you have to love from a distance, and as long as they're happy with their own lives, then that's what matters.
As they say, if you love them, let them go.
That's right. And if they come back, then they're yours.
Yeah. Very true. What about you, Mike?
I'm getting hung up on the word ever, because the sheer fact that word is in the sentence. Do you think it's ever healthy? Well, obviously, yes. Like even if there's only one instance out of every instance of this there's ever been, then by default the answer is yes. The spirit of the question, do you think that it's healthy or even healing? I think it depends on the situation. Everything is context. It all depends on what the qualifiers are, what the trigger points are, the specificity within. And I assume we're just talking about relationships here. But there are times that it is not healthy and that is not healing. It could be not healthy because it crosses over from curiosity or genuine concern into creepiness and stalker territory. Healing, it could be, take Sharon's story, for example. To Sharon, that was healing for him. And now I'm talking about you in the third person. Or in the second person? I'm talking about you in the second.
In person.
In person.
There you
go. But in my case, the woman that I was in, what I convinced myself that I was in love with her, the longer I kept that line of communication open, or the longer that I went without, making a clean break and just kind of distancing myself altogether, severing ties, I think is what I'm looking for. That's not healthy for me because the hope, the possibility was still there. And that wound, I allowed that wound to stay open and it could never heal. So was it healing? No. Was it healthy for me? No. And also, even if healing has nothing to do with it, if from the healthy perspective, if it crosses over from genuine concern and curiosity into stalkerish type territory, it's not healthy for you, but it's also incredibly violating for the person being
observed,
voyeur, I think is what
voyeuristic. Voyeuristic.
The voyee, I guess, would be very traumatizing to that person if they found out.
Yeah, I suppose. Especially if you reveal it to them yourself, like I did.
Possible.
I don't know if it was actually traumatizing. I have no idea how he reacted to that.
Just need to let you know you have cameras in your bathroom.
Sorry about that.
If you want me to take them back.
For context, if anyone has not been privy to that history from my earlier live streams, I was just talking about watching an ex on his live stream and then revealing that I was doing so.
They had cameras in the toilet.
God, not that
they were
bad.
in 4K.
Not that bad.
More like 8K.
That's not the moment that I want to be spying on someone anyway. You're in the toilet taking a dump. Oh yeah.
Hey, some people
like that. Love is love. All right.
If you're like, maybe the camera is angled so you can see what they're looking at on their phone while they're on the toilet.
That's a low hanging phone.
Yeah, literally.
I don't know. Some people are just into that shit.
Some people.
Sorry, I don't mean to toot. I don't mean to toot my own horn.
Hey. There it is.
All right, is it my turn to answer the question?
Yeah.
We'll have to report to HR now and do our paperwork.
Yeah.
Lucky this is the last question. We are almost at the we're almost at the 2-hour mark, so we're
right.
managed to. I thought that we were going to be short, so like this is
this is great.
Yes, I do think that there are times where it's like similar to Mike. It depends on the context of the situation. I think the times where it is not healthy and not healing is when you are observing from a distance, like directly after a breakup, and you're like still trying to process and understand what happened, and you see them like seemingly doing well because that's what they want to present on social media, rather than the undercurrent of what they're actually feeling. It's not healthy or healing when you're observing during those moments. However, I think after some time has passed, after you have learned to find some level of closure within yourself, you've processed and been able to move on from things, and then you're curious about checking in on them. I think there are times where it could be healthy or healing. I think, for example, like the ex that I was talking about throughout this stream, I've talked about multiple, but the one that I was still have, like, I would like them to be checking in on me because of my ego. I did once check in on him since I decided to go cold turkey, and it was just on his birthday, and I feel like that was more healthy than the other times that I've been checking in on him, because it was more just like to see what I could handle, and it didn't throw me back into that like obsessive addiction of checking in. I checked in once and then I was able to move on, and that showed me that I had, I guess, healed and processed in a way. And that, granted, it seemed like he was still single, so that was a little bit like, but
sorry, you were like, what?
I was like,
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
It's nice to know when somebody has not been able to move on from me. That's a thing that Sharon mentioned earlier about wanting to know that they're not doing well. But yeah, I mean, aside from like, so that was somewhat healthy and healing, I think. And this is the same one that I, like, years ago, because we'd been together for a while and he ghosted me, and during like the 9 years that we were not in contact, there was a period where I was watching his live streams regularly, and that, I mean, I think some of it was healthy and some of it was unhealthy. So like, I liked seeing that he was doing well, but when it crossed into the unhealthy side was when I started obsessing about wanting to reach out and wanting to get back into contact with him. So yeah, it can vary depending on where you are mentally, and things like that. So
and also, like, what are you looking to get out of it?
What are your intentions?
Yeah, what are your intentions? What do you want?
Yeah.
If you're just looking for closure, there may not be anything wrong with that. Especially if the other person has cut you off and they haven't blocked you. And honestly, and sometimes even if they have like done the whole blocking thing and done everything that they can to cut you out of your life, I think that's where we really start to learn what kind of a person we are. When the curiosity is so high, what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to leave it alone like you should? And just,
or are you going to create a fake account and check in the stuff?
Yeah.
Are you going to be creepy?
Yeah.
Can you? Sure. I think the real question is, can you accept?
Right.
Most people can't.
Can you move on?
Yeah, it's hard. That's one of those things that takes time to be able to move on, and it's not easy.
Well, that's the thing. If you can move on straight away, that just means that the relationship didn't mean anything to you in the first place.
The relationship was not significant to you. You were probably just using them for your own self-gratification.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not just that, but it meant nothing to you.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah. That's
I once had a friend in high school who dated someone below our social circle, because the high school is full of like the social tiers, right?
Cliques, yeah.
So someone who was in a lower social tier than where we were at, they dated this other person just because they had a trampoline. And
to be fair, that's actually pretty badass. That's not half bad. That's pretty good.
And then after summer break ended, and it was time for the new school year to start, they broke up with the other person, and told me about it. And I was like, "What?" That's both disgusting and also amazing. Well done.
Wow. That's fascinating.
The fact that they're that honest about it. Hey, I mean, fair play. Fair play.
Yeah.
Like, you're going at them because he drives a Jaguar? Yeah, but she's got a trampoline, mate. Yeah, so,
Dude, this is one of the reasons why I wondered. Okay, so I don't think I've ever talked about this, but it's making me think about when I went back to Malaysia most recently, to try and get closure with the ex who had ghosted me and who I hope still checks out on me on social media sometimes. He by then had not inherited because that sounds like the person died, but and they didn't, but he was given his dad's old Mercedes, and he gave me a ride in his car and mentioned it. And like, to me, like, I know Mercedes is an expensive car and it's meant to seem impressive and stuff, and I wondered, like, well after the fact, was he trying to impress me with the fact that he's got a Mercedes now, or like and that was like, I should be attracted to him because of that? Like, what is going on?
Well, I mean, to be fair, that is part of the allure of Mercedes per se. Their brand is status. That's what Mercedes is. That's pretty much it. Same thing with BMW.
Probably especially in Malaysia, where a car that is a super luxury brand in Malaysia, where you're up against what Petronas and
well, not just that, because if you can afford that in Malaysia, because foreign cars have a 300% tax here. If you can afford that, it's cha-ching.
Yeah.
Did you say that there's a Malaysian car called the Petronas?
Isn't it? Is there? Am I?
Not the Petronas.
No,
Petronas.
Petronas. I'm thinking of Persona.
There's a car called the Persona. Petronas Towers is an oil and gas company.
Yes.
Not Petronas, like not that. I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell his eyebrow just go.
PE as in like petrol, because it's a
talk about having a spirit car. My goodness.
Petronas. No, I was thinking of the Proton Persona. That's the kind of car that I had, which was a Malaysian car. There's also like the Peradure, I think, is one of the cheapest cars that you can get in Malaysia. So comparatively, I have no idea how his family is even able to afford a Mercedes. Like, I didn't think that they were rich enough to have that anyway. So like, it's just like, anyway, that's not the kind of thing that impresses me. Like, money and finance and status is not the kind of thing that matters to me. I learned that he had gotten the Mercedes before he showed it to me, because a mutual friend told me that had happened. And I'm like, am I supposed to be impressed by this? Like, it doesn't matter to me what kind of car you drive.
No, but put it this way: if you're out in the street and you see someone who drives a Concho compared to someone that walks out of a Mercedes, in your mind, even if they dress the exact same way, you're going to have an inclination as to that person's financial power from one to the other, aren't you? So that's just normal.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, but he himself was not financially of that status. It was more that was his dad wanted a new car, so he got to take that one.
Fair dues.
Anyway, I don't think that anyone who knows him is watching this. Otherwise, they would probably know who we're talking about. That might be a little revealing. All right, a couple more comments from the chat before we close out the night.
Cool.
Sundar is back, and he says, for me, the urge to check in on someone who's long in the past often comes from stuff that's going on in the present. It's a signal for me to step back and look at what's going on in the moment for me. Yeah, that's an interesting. Have you guys had that kind of experience where you've realized that checking in on someone from the past has been about what's going on in the present?
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, go on. Yeah, please.
Oh, sorry. There was a woman in my groom's party when I got married. I had two women in my groom's party, as a matter of fact. But I chose one for my groom's party, one person from each stage of my life, one of best friend from each stage of my life. And the first person, well, I mean, there was my brother, who was, you know, the my best man. But then right after my brother as the best man, there was Nikki Matthews, who was the little girl that grew up right across the street from me, and we were best friends until I was age 7 when we moved away. But I had stayed out of contact, or been out of contact with Nikki for, excuse me, oh, what's going on with me, for years and years and years and years. I know, right? Too many.
I've been quietly burping under my breath.
Yeah, she's been doing a lot of that too.
Yeah, but no, I had been out of contact with Nikki for years and years and years and years. And then we just kind of reconnected on social media. And of course, now I'm going through like all of her posts, all of her videos and photos, and just like, who is the person now that I, you know, once called a best friend, you know? Where did she end up in life? And it was, you know, beautiful. She's a beautiful person, has so much love and care and goodness to put in the world, and has done so many incredible things. Like she's amazing, and I'm even more proud now to call her a friend than when I was 5 years old. You know,
that's awesome.
Jared?
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking of something very, very specific. So, like, for this actually happened a few days ago. Apparently, allegedly, Hollywood is thinking about remaking RoboCop, and again, and I watched the previous remake with my friend Adam, and I remember we both loved the original, and we went to go watch it. I remember both of us were like really, really pumped. We got we went for the midnight release, so we were like, oh my god, it's gonna be great. And no one was in the cinema, so we had the whole cinema to ourselves. We're like, oh my god, it's so much guts and gore, and this is gonna be amazing. And I remember after the film was over, we both went out for a cigarette, and we just looked at each other, and we both, I'm not joking, at the same time, just went, and every time, for some reason, whenever RoboCop comes on my feed or I'm thinking about it, I'll go and check on him, because he's not, he has a Facebook, but he's not active. Instead, his wife will tag him, and she'll post all his stuff on there now. And so they've got a kid, little Bonnie, and like she'll post photos. And so, yeah, every time I think of RoboCop, I instantly think about him. So, yeah, it's pretty funny.
That's awesome. I don't know why, but that memory triggered a memory when I was the only person in the cinema for a film that was like, you know, not very widely released or popular. But the reason I went to see it was because the guy that I lost my virginity to was in it, like in a small extra role.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was called.
The Avengers.
It was like a country. I think it was like a country or like a Western kind of style movie. I can look it up if I can remember and say it to you guys off stream. I might remember what it's called, but I don't want to say it on stream because it might like reveal his identity, even though he had he was probably uncredited in it, but still. Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, I did have something else to comment on this as well. I think so. The memory that came up for me for the urge to check in on somebody based on what was happening in the present. Like for my Malaysian ex that I keep talking about, I went years without bothering to check in on him on social media, and it was only during or after I was divorced was when I started checking in more regularly. But it was after I was like triggered by seeing him share a stand-up video on Twitter, and then I went and had a look, and then I saw him clicked on some other videos and saw him doing some stand-up about something that he experienced with me, and then I'm like, okay, I need to stop.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, it was fine. I talked to him about it later on once we actually were in contact again. But yeah, so definitely I've done those situations. I realized I forgot to bring up my dad's comment that happened before this. So
what did Frank say?
My dad had said, if they come back, isn't always true. There are lots of examples of women divorcing men but come back when husband moves on with someone else. The jealousy thing has problems.
I mean, it's not just women; it happens to men as well, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, oh man, she was the one that got away, or he was the one that got away. Because that's one of those things where you're watching from the distance, you see them, and it seems to be like they're better now than they were than when you were with them, because you're not seeing what's happening inside the relationship. They probably still have the same problems unless they have worked on their issues.
Well, I mean, like someone I remember shared with me a really interesting analogy about that. It's like if you have an old car that always breaks down, and you take it to a car wash for a car wax and a polish, it looks great. You'll want to be, oh, look at my new car. You'll get it, start driving, but it'll still have the same issues.
That's one of the reasons I am going to be selling my car soon. I know I recorded some video this morning that I'm going to be talking about that in a video. I'll hopefully edit it tomorrow to talk about why. But yeah, like it's got some issues that is not worth me paying for, especially with how infrequently I drive right now. Daniel is joining us. Welcome back, Daniel.
Hey, buddy.
Always good to see you. Even though we're finishing up. Yes, Mike's petting that cat.
It's funny you say that, because that's something that I think about every single time. So like the impetus, I mean, here he is just like laying on the ground, just like a cutie patootie. Look at that cat. But when he starts rubbing up against my leg and saying, hey, it's time for you to pay attention to me during the stream, that's when I'll like pick him up. But in order to keep him there, I have to continually pet him. And I always feel like, oh shoot, who was the actor from Halloween who played Dr. Loomis?
I can see his face, but I don't know his name.
Anyway, in one of the Bond films, he played Ernst Blofeld, and he just has that like white puffy cat, and he's just petting the cat. And so that's every single time I do that, that's the image that goes through my mind.
Does Dr. Evil in Austin Powers also have a cat? Am I remembering that correctly?
So Austin Powers is a parody of James Bond.
Yeah, right. That's why I'm thinking.
Were you thinking of Donald Pleasance or Malcolm McDowell?
Donald Pleasance. That's who it is. Donald Pleasance. Yeah.
Sorry.
Donald Pleasance let's test my Bond knowledge. I haven't tested myself for a minute. Let's see. Donald Pleasance as Ernst Blofeld. That would have been.
Daniel was trying to get in there, but
You Only Live Twice. There it is.
It's not there early enough.
I believe Donald Pleasance as Blofeld was in the 5th James Bond movie, You Only Live Twice.
67, right?
Wow.
I think so.
I have not seen very many of the older James Bond
You
films.
should. It's good fun.
This is why I thought of Dr. Evil, because I watched all of those Austin Power films probably before I saw any James Bond films, because I was more of a comedy person. But I will say, I think I froze for a minute.
Not for us.
No, that's you're fine. But yeah, you should, because you're still here, because like you only live twice. Sorry,
Okay.
Was I think Connery at his peak. So it's just like, I don't give a. Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, I'm sorry, Goldfinger, like that.
Yeah.
It's the. I feel like that
Peak.
was at his peak.
Yeah,
I also love Diamonds Are Forever too. It's a goofy movie, but I love it. Oh, I love it. But yes, Dr. Evil. So in the first 7 movies, portrayed by 2 different James Bonds, Ernst Blofeld was played by a handful of different characters. Sometimes Blofeld is bald. Sometimes he has hair. Sometimes he looks like this. Sometimes he looks like that. But kind of the more common thread was that he was bald and had a cat. And the suit that Dr. Evil wears is the same type of suit, almost exactly the same suit that Donald Pleasence wore.
Interesting.
Plus, also, You Only Live Twice was. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was the only Bond film where Blofeld had that weird like scar coming into his eye.
Yeah, that's the only one. The rest of them just look like normal dudes.
Yeah,
because he has that one thing. Yeah, he's got the Sub-Zero. Yeah,
and that's why what's his bucket? Dr. Evil also had like the weird eye scar too.
Huh? Yeah. I didn't know that. Okay. Give me a freaking bone here, Scott.
You want frickin' sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their frickin' heads?
I feel like I need to rewatch these films. I have them all on DVD, but I need to rewatch them. It's been a long time since I've seen them. I know. I have so many things to rewatch. The only James Bond actor that I've seen all of their films has been Daniel Craig. And I just bought Skyfall secondhand because that's my favorite Daniel Craig James Bond film.
I think that's, for my opinion, the 3rd best James Bond film ever made.
I don't know. I thought Casino Royale was up there.
Casino Royale is my favorite of all.
There you go. Yeah.
Followed by Goldfinger.
What's the second then?
Goldfinger, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then
Goldfinger.
Clearly, I'm in good company then. All right, we have one more. Okay.
Oh, I'm just going off more about.
I was going to bring up another chat
about it. Quantum of Solace, I actually really liked. I know a lot of people were like, "Meh." I really dug that movie. End of thought. Moving on.
I don't remember which one it was. I remember Casino Royale because it was the first one that he did. He did 4 of them, right?
He did 5.
5. Skyfall was the 3rd one?
Mm-hmm. So it goes Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, No Time to Die. Spectre was
I'm pretty sure I've seen all of them. I just didn't remember that there were 5. All right, we have one more comment in the chat to bring up before we will end. So one more comment from Daniel. He says, Mercedes, if she can't accept me for my horse and buggy and butter churn, then not interested.
That's a real one.
Exactly.
I hear you, Daniel. I hear you.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Whoa! Yeah. Give me a guy with a horse and buggy any day of the week. That's how I want to get around. So romantic.
Yeah, it's not cheap, man.
Look, you have to be rich to own horses anyway, right?
Not cheap. In this economy? Oh.
Don't you mean in this economy?
All right, I think this is a good place to end. Oh, my connection.
We can see and hear you, Joseph.
Yep, you're good. No worries.
That's so weird. Like it keeps telling me, "Oops, lost connection," and I keep like hearing like you guys. Like,
Yeah, you're fine.
Static
You're
and breaking out. It's so weird. What is wrong with my computer? But you guys can hear me. Anyway, since it's like that for me, it is a good time for us to end the stream. We don't have any more comments anyway. If you are watching this stream after the fact, while we're not live, feel free to drop us some comments in the comment section. We love to hear from you, to hear what you thought. If you have any suggestions about topics that you'd like to hear us discuss in an upcoming episode, love to hear about those as well. And if you're not already subscribed, why not? Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you can find out when we're going to be live, so you can come and chat with us live. Clearly, we interact with the audience. I do bring up the comments. We'd love to hear that. And yeah, we'll see you next week, hopefully. Bye.
Bye.